everyone, it's Amy from Almond Rock. It's Vlogmas day 3 and I'm standing out in the cold like an idiot because today we're going to try on as many of my handmade coats and jackets that I could still find in the house. I've been sewing for 15 years. I've made a lot of coats and jackets. I'm going to share all my learnings, the wins, the successes and the failures with you all today. And it's very cold, so let's get started. This is the Kelly Anorak by Closet Core Patterns, and I used a red waterproof nylon, so it's great for all the showers we get here in Britain. Huge kind of expandable pockets, storm flap for the zipper. I've got some stains on it now and the pockets are starting to tear off. I need to give it some repairs. Snap fastener cuffs, snap fasteners. I used to have more, I think they're falling off around the hood. Good sized hood for rainy days. Good sized hood for rainy days. And I actually followed a tutorial to underline the jacket in fleece fabric for extra warmth. So I used a polka dot fleece on the inside of the jacket and the inside of the hood. It was quite a technical sew. It was very enjoyable to make. Lots of kind of moments where you had to slow down and focus. Lots of top stitching. And yeah, I'm really pleased with this jacket. I would probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. My only gripe is that you have to pay for the lining pack separately, but the tutorial to underline was free, so at least I got that. I could probably figure out how to line it, but it's just work you don't need to do. So it's a bit of a pain to have to buy a lining separately. But yeah, a great little rainproof jacket, lots of cool details, and I wear it all the time. This is Vogue 7666, a vintage pattern from the 1970s that I found at a car boot sale and fell in love with. It has this amazing oversized pointed collar, princess seams, pockets that disappear into the princess seams, bound buttonholes, and yeah, it was full of tailoring techniques. Like I learned how to pad stitch, how to use twill tape on my roll line. Yeah, it was a real education for me. I was so proud when I finished this jacket. Unfortunately, I picked the worst possible wool. Really, it's best to invest in your wool. That's the biggest takeaway I want to tell people today. This was £6 a metre. It bobbles like crazy. I always look rumpled. It attracts fluff and hair and everything. So unfortunately, I don't really wear this anymore, but I keep it because I'm so proud of this jacket. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 because the fabric lets it down. Or maybe it should be 3 out of 5. Stick with what I said, 4 out of 5. My blue Anise jacket by Colette Patterns was the first jacket I ever made. I'd only been sewing a couple of years and I was so incredibly proud of what I made. It actually looked really good as well for my skill level at that time. I learned loads of amazing new techniques like welt pockets. I covered my buttonholes. I think I did bound buttons as well. It turned out so well and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was incredibly proud. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 5 because it proves that if you have a really good pattern with really good instructions and you're willing to like read books and watch YouTube and learn, you can sew a coat at any time in your sewing journey. Don't worry about being too beginner. With the right pattern you can take you through and you can learn so much as you go. This is Vogue 1537. I absolutely loved this coat when I first made it. It's a Kay Unger pattern and it was actually meant to be like a sort of a formal dressier coat made in brocades, but I made it in wool. I lengthened the sleeves because they were quite cropped. It's very old, I can't actually button it anymore and the fabric's showing its age, but at the time this was my favourite coat to wear. I love the colours. I swapped the buttons since I made it, but yeah, I'm going to give this one 5 out of 5 because I finished it great. I loved all the lining. It had the perfect fit at the time, and yeah, I felt like $1 million when I was wearing this coat. This is Simplicity 8843, a fun anorak pattern that I made only a few years ago. It has a big hood, a really big hood, exposed zipper down the front, patch flap pockets, and it's another unlined jacket. My problem is that I chose completely the wrong fabric. This is so incredibly stiff. I think you can see it's holding its own shape, and it's not actually that waterproof. I can only wear it out if it's like a light shower, which is rubbish for an anorak. The poppers love to fall off this fabric as well. Everything that's wrong with it came down to the fabric choice. I think I'd probably make it again in a totally different fabric. Oh, what a satisfying noise. But yeah, unlined jacket, you could draft yourself a little lining if you had the energy. But yeah, it's good for a shower, but if it's absolutely pouring outside, I can't wear this jacket. So I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 for that reason. This is McCall 7913, the first version of this pattern I made. It's the greatest little quilted jacket made actually from an upcycled blanket, and that makes it incredibly warm because of the wadding layer in between. It has huge oversized pockets. I love the little trim that I added. That matches with the contrast corduroy collar. Snap, great noise. Snap fasteners all down the front, making it very easy to get on and off. And yeah, I used all the existing bias binding on the blanket to help speed up the process. And then inside I used a contrast red colour bias binding for all my Hong Kong seams. I would give this jacket a 4 out of 5 because it's an absolute workhorse for me during winter. It keeps me very cozy, and the only thing I would change is I wish that the blanket could have been a bit brighter in colour. The Luzerne trench coat by Deer and Doe is a beautiful pattern. I learned so much making this coat. I really wanted to learn how to make a trench coat with all those classic details. I made it slightly harder for myself by picking a stretch fabric, so that made all my top stitching that much harder to do. But yeah, it really came together well. The problem was I didn't think about how this jacket was going to fit into my wardrobe. I didn't like the look of it on me. The skirt was too flared. I hated the collar. So I gave it away. And for that reason, I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 because I had to give it away, all that hard work. Yes, I learned a lot, but it was an absolute waste of materials. And yeah, I should never have made a trench coat in the first place. This is Vogue 1537, made about 3 or 4 years ago in a lovely mossy green kind of colour. The fabric was way too thick for this project, and I ploughed ahead regardless. I added welt pockets. One of them turned out better than the other, which is always the way with welt pockets. I hate doing them because you can make 8 amazing practice versions, and then when it comes to making the actual real one, you mess it up. The thick collar because the fabric was too thick. Yeah, it's a real shame. I wear this on super cold days because it is incredibly warm, so it's got that going for it. It also needed one more button, I think, or a hem vent. I didn't add a hem vent to this one, so it makes it harder to walk. It splays at the front. Yeah, it was kind of disappointing all around. You can obviously see that I've worn it a lot because one of the buttons has fallen off. I need to replace that. And I did a fun cat print lining, very enjoyable. That's starting to wear a bit. So it's a good coat. It's very wearable. I still wear it, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. I made this to replace the orange one that was too small, and yeah, it was a bit of a letdown. So I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. Just because of some of my construction, like the welt pockets make me sad when I look at them. I know lots of people would be like, that's an amazing welt pocket, but I should have known better. This fabric was too thick. It wasn't, it wasn't going to work. And in the end, I was a bit disappointed. So we're giving it 3.5 out of 5, just because some of the finer details let it down, and I picked slightly too thick fabric, but it still gets worn a lot, and I'm sure it's going to get worn when winter rolls around in the new year. This is Burda 5855. This is my current winter jacket, made in a beautiful pink wool Melton. This is the difference when you use 100% wool. It feels amazing, it hangs better, and it doesn't bobble as much. And I love the colour. I love the buttons I chose. These are vintage patterns from Jimmy's family. They gave me a tin of buttons that were handed down, and they're sparkly and gorgeous. I wear it with the brooch that I got for being maid of honour at my best friend's wedding. I absolutely love this brooch. Big patch pockets, subtle dart shaping. It only has the dart up here at the shoulder area, so it makes it quite a cocoon shape, but it works with all kinds of outfits. It's really warm and cozy, and I love it. I'm gonna give it, I think I'm gonna give it 4.5. Oh, maybe a 5. No, 4.5, just because I shouldn't have top stitched these pockets on. I should have invisibly hand sewn them on. I don't like the top stitching, and that's on me, that's my fault. And it just ever so slightly takes away from the coat, but now that it's constructed, it would be an absolute pain to attempt to unpick them and hand sew them on, and I'd be left with a line of where the stitching had been. So yeah, 4.5, maybe almost a 5. I love this coat. This is McCall's 7913, the second quilted jacket I made from that pattern, and it's a really cute little snap fastener lightweight jacket. This time it was made from a quilted jacquard reversible fabric from Fabric Godmother. I chose this size, the same oversized pockets, rounded collar. It's just a great little jacket. I love the pops of purple that I added, and inside I used white bias at the neck and the hem, and then I stabilized the snap fastener area with white cotton as well, and inside all the seams are finished with purple Hong Kong finish. Every seam is bound so it won't fray, and it's really cute, really fun. I get a lot of compliments when I wear it, and I'd probably rate it a 4, just because it really doesn't go with a lot of outfits. And it's not that warm. It's a great spring jacket, but so much fun, really fun to make, really fun to wear. Great little jacket. My speckled Anise jacket from Colette Patterns was made in salvage wool twill from a local weaver. I absolutely love the colours in this wool. Tweed does attract fluff like nobody's business, but the texture was undeniably cosy. I picked the most fun pop yellow lining, and yeah, it came together so well. I loved that jacket. The reason it's not here today is that that lining was cheap and terrible, and it ripped after a few wears. I think I maybe got a year out of it. And yeah, that's another reason that we have to invest in quality fabrics. Can't be using some thin, flimsy satin for your lining. You need a tightly woven, strong, slightly thicker than normal satin that can take the strain of putting your jacket on and off over again. So for that reason, I'm going to give it 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5, because I picked the wrong materials and I've lived to pay the price. I thought you all deserved a laugh. This is my latest work in progress of Burda 5855 as a jacket. I'm playing around with the length here, you can see. I haven't got to the lining yet. My collar's attached at least. I cut the pockets on the bias and hand sewed those in place so we don't have that stitching line, and lots of pattern matching fun at the seams and the sleeves. It needs the sleeves letting out a little bit. I made them a bit too tight, but I'm really pleased with how this one's coming together. And I have to do the lining, which is my least favourite bit, but yeah, I think this is going to be really cute in the new year. Might get some time to work on it over Christmas break. I've actually realised I've made even more coats and jackets that I haven't shared today, but I don't want to keep this video going on for too long. Let's look at the main takeaways. Good quality wool that will last for years, well made and will not look rumpled after a few wears. Good quality lining that can take the strain of being taken on and off lots of times. A great pattern with good instructions, plus YouTube and books to help you grow your skills. You don't have to worry about being a beginner to make a coat. And think about how this coat is going to fit into your wardrobe. Is it going to be your style? Is it going to work with all your other clothing? It's no point making a pattern that you're not going to wear, even if it did teach you something. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again soon for Vlogmas Day 4, and thanks for watching. Oh, please shut up. I just want to finish. Okay. I'm never filming outside again.